Hello everyone, my name is Khushi Maheshwari and today I am back with another video lecture where I'll be giving a brief analysis of the play titled Oedipus the King. Oedipus was written by famous Greek playwright Sophocles to tape the tale of the king named Oedipus. He wrote over 100 plays and one of the three famous Greek tragedies. The play was produced in great festival of Dionysia around 430 BC. Sophocles examined the nature of destiny using Oedipus' blindness to the truth, his stubborn pride, and his uncontrollable rage. Before studying any Greek classical literature or classic literary work, a brief intro about the Greek mythology and the 12 significant Olympic gods is necessary. Greeks regard their mythology as an irremovable aspect of their history. They explain their existence, climatic variations, and other phenomena with the help of such created mythic gods, goddesses, and heroes. For example, Zeus was the god of sky and king of Olympus, whereas Hera regarded as goddess of marriage and queen of Olympus. Now, if we come to the plot of the story, it opens with King Oedipus' distress about the plague that has struck Thebes. Fearing the eventual destruction of his land, Oedipus ordered his brother-in-law Creon to seek Apollo, the god of prophecy, for protection. The incentive movement springs up when Creon returns to Thebes and notifies Oedipus that the epidemic is a divine curse and that the god desired the murder of Laius, the former king of Thebes. According to mythology, Laius was assassinated by a group of men in a crossroad. Oedipus pledges and commits himself to identifying and prosecuting the murderer of Laius. Oedipus interrogates a group of reluctant citizens, including Tiresias, a blind prophet. Tiresias initially refuses to deliver the answer since the response will be unsatisfactory to the king. Oedipus, on the other hand, is adamant that he offer the response. Oedipus threatens Tiresias, threatening to expose him. Then he states that Laius was killed by Oedipus himself. This news annoys Oedipus, but his wife Jocasta persuades him not to suspect in prophecy because the prophecy has always been false. She reminds Oedipus about her and King Laius' son, who was foretold to kill Laius and sleep with her. Because she and Laius killed the infant, the prophecy surely didn't come true. But Oedipus did not comforted by Jocasta's story. An old man informed Oedipus that he was adopted by the rulers of Corinth when he was a child, which initiated the peripeteia in the story. Further, he would kill his biological father and sleep with his biological mother. Oedipus is advised by Jocasta not to gaze into the past any further, but he transcends her advice. Oedipus continued to interrogate a messenger who had come to Thebes to deliver news of Polybus' death, as well as a shepherd who had given the young Oedipus to the king of Corinth. Both have knowledge of how Oedipus was abandoned as a newborn and adopted by a new family, the ruler of Corinth. The story approached its climax when Jocasta suddenly discovers that Oedipus is her son and that it was Oedipus who murdered his father. To second this mishap, we find that the Oedipus narrative of killing a man at crossroad seemed very similar to that of Laius' murder. She ends up killing herself because she is dismayed by what has happened. Later, the anagnorisis emerges in the plot when Oedipus realizes that he was the murderer of Laius and that he has been married to his mother. He exiles himself from Thebes after slashing out his eyes in terror and anguish. The resolution is given to the play when Oedipus requests exile towards the end of the story. Now, let's talk about the theme discussed throughout in the story. Oedipus' life is about either fate or free will. Oedipus has to face the prophecy, which is the god's will, or Oedipus can stand far away from the prophecy. Facing the prophecy that says Oedipus will kill his father and sleep with his mother, he set out from his foster father Polybus and went to his own father Laius, whom he killed later. Then he married Jocasta, Laius' wife, or his own mother. When Oedipus left his foster parents because of the prophecy, it is his will to stay away from the prophecy. But his will even drag him into his real fate. Tiresias holds the key to the link between sight and blindness too. Though he is blind, he can still see and predict the future. At the end of the play, moreover, Oedipus blinds himself because what he has metamorphically seen leaves him unable to face his family or his parents in the afterlife. Oedipus is placing blame on Tiresias for the murder of Laius. Unknowingly, he himself is the killer. The pride Oedipus has in his blaming is an example of hubris. Besides all other themes, Sophocles showed about wisdom and knowledge too. In the story, Oedipus is a seeker of knowledge and truth. He struggles to uncover Laius' murder and his own identity, despite numerous warnings that he should leave the truth alone. His pursuit of knowledge and truth, however, results in ruin as Oedipus uncovers his destiny, which he was better off not knowing. I guess I have covered all the themes, so it's time to answer the major question which arises: how prophecy and divine intervention acted as a major plot mover. At first, the oracle of Delphi has prophesied about Oedipus that he would marry his own mother and kill his father. When Oedipus got to know about the same, this led to his escape to different territory, which ultimately was found to be his hometown, Thebes. Later on, it was believed that it was Apollo, the Greek god, who has sent the plague in his fury. And during Oedipus' struggle to get rid of the pandemic, he realized about his truth, and thus the prophecy was proved to be true. Oedipus the play showed how brilliantly symbolism can be included in literature. Here, Sophocles laid down an imagery of state by metamorphically calling it ship. He compared the status of drowning ship with that of the Thebes under the epidemic. Sophocles also used the symbolism of eyes, vision, and blindness, where vision is compared to knowledge and acceptance with the truth, which is the case with Tiresias, who, despite being blind, can see the future and claim to have knowledge, whereas Oedipus, who was blessed with both the eyes, was not able to accept the truth in front of him. Oedipus, the title itself, is symbolic as the literal meaning of the word is someone with one leg. This is similar to what Oedipus actually bears, that he had one perfect leg and the other leg with an injury. This is evident with the incident where he is told to have a leg. Last but not least, Oedipus killed King Laius at a place where three roads meet, or a triple crossroad. Typically, crossroads symbolize a choice to be made. Yet, because the murder of Laius occurred in the distant past, Oedipus' choice has already been made, and so the triple crossroad becomes a symbol not of choice but fate. Moving forward, we have few literary devices used in the play. Oedipus is the best example of hamartia, as he intends to find the murderer of Laius to regain the prosperity of his city, but ultimately turns the table on him after exposing his unintentional wrongdoings and impending exile. We went through various metaphor examples in the previous slides as well. The theme of sight versus blindness in the tragic play is a metaphor with blindness symbolizing knowledge light, and truth, while sight symbolizes ignorance, darkness, and light. There are many dramatic irony in the play. For example, Oedipus has been seeking to find out the murder of the previous king in order to solve the plague, but in fact, he is the murderer. The more efforts and endeavors he takes, the more ironic he seems to be. In the play, there an example of personification where the plague is said to have its legs spreading. Simultaneously, Sophocles draws a devastative image of the city in the mind of his readers through the reference of depleting houses and the souls. Just like metaphors, we have also covered the examples of imagery in the previous slide. As regarded by Aristotle, tragedy involves the protagonist's rise in action and later on a series of actions leading to peripeteia and anagnorisis, which ultimately lead to catharsis or outburst of audience emotions. Oedipus Rex has the element of tragic setting, atmosphere, and mood, tragic character with tragic hamartia, tragic plot design moving to tragic disintegration, and therefore the tragic realization by the character and audience. Therefore, the conclusion of Sophocles' Oedipus Rex encompasses the events which occur after Oedipus discovers that he is the murderer of Laius, the former king of Thebes. These events include Jocasta's suicide, Oedipus' blinding of himself, and Oedipus' eventual exile from Thebes, which relieves the people of Thebes of the plague and famine they have been suffering. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you like it and you are welcome enough to drop your question in the comment section.